Good morning, students. Good morning to all. And last day we have studied about the factors of productions and the characteristics of every factors of productions. And already we have studied it very clearly about the characteristics of land and labor. So today just we will remind what we have studied on last day and we will go to the new concept. So the characteristics of land and labor already we have studied, and now just we will remind about the characteristics of capitals. So the capital consists of all kinds of wealth other than free gift of nature. So except the free gift of nature, so all kinds of wealth is considered as a capital. And not only that, the capital is a man-made things, but the land or some of the free gift of nature is not made by the man. But even though the free gift of nature is considered as a type of wealth. So Marshall says capital consists of all kinds of wealth other than free gift of nature, which yield income. So wherever we have the possibilities to earning the income, so all the possibilities or all the things are considered as a kinds of wealth, or all the kinds of wealth also considered as a capital. So like that, Baum-Bevak defines it as a produced means of productions. So it is the stock concept. The capital is the stock concept. Here we have to note one thing, as we studied on last day itself. All capital is wealth. All capital is wealth, but all wealth is not a capital. For example, tractor is a capital asset which can be used in cultivations or production of farm. But due to some reason, the same is kept unused for some period. It cannot be termed as the capital for that period. Because whenever the tractor is not going to use it for the farm, we cannot get the income. So on the particular time the tractor is considered as a not capital and not a wealth. But all wealth is not capital. Okay. So next, some of the characteristics of capital. The capital is the man-made factor. So the capital is the man-made factor, because all type of the wealth have to created by the human beings only. Next, the capital is mobile between places and persons. So the capital always will be transferring from one person to another of the persons, and it will be moving from one place to another of the places. And the capital is considered as a passive factor of productions, because we can use the capital, but the capital will never doing something. So it is called as a passive factor of productions. Next, capital's supply is elastic. So we know on the basis of demand. So whenever the demand for any of the commodities increased, on the basis of increased commodity or increasing the demand, so the supply of commodities also have to be increased. If you want to increasing the supply of commodities, we must make more capital to producing the commodities what we need. So the capital supply is elastic. On the basis of increasing the capitals, so the demand for the commodities or supply of the commodities also will be increased. Next, capital's demand is derived demand. Capital's demand is derived demand means, for example, if there is some demand for any of the commodity, only the demand for capital will be arise. So if there is no demand for any of the commodities, there is no need to making the more capitals. So if you want to make more capital, the demand for something or some product may be exist. Next, the capital is durable. The capital is durable means always it will be worth. if you have some amount of gold, if you have some amount of money, it will be always useful to making the capitals. And if you have some vehicles and some of the buildings, always has some of the value throughout the years. Next, another one of the factors, the organizations. The man behind organizing the business is called as organizers or the entrepreneur. After using the land, labor, capital, we can produce any of the commodities. After producing the commodity by using these three factors, the product must be reached in the hand of consumers. For that, this type of factor, the organization is very much important to transferring the goods from the place of product to place of consuming. So an organizer is the most important factor of productions, because after producing the commodities, because the production of the commodity is created on the basis of the demand, but that produced commodities have to reach in the hands of the consumers. In which way it will be moving from the place of consumer to the producer means by the way of organizer or the organizations only. So the functions of an organization are the functions of organizers. So what the organizers have to take? What are the undertakings have to taken by the organizations means? First one is initiations. As an organizer is the initiator of the business by considering the situation and availability of resources and planning the entire process of business or production. So if you want to deciding about any of the commodity or the production of commodities, the initiation is very much important. So as a good organizer have to taking the initial efforts, or an organizer has to as become as a initiator of the business. Next, innovations. A successful entrepreneur is always an innovator. He introduces new methods in the production process. Nowadays, if any of the production units or any of the industries want to successful, so the producers or the entrepreneurs must bring the innovations on the existing commodities, or he must be as a innovators. He has to introduce the new methods in the production process. They have to new ideas, new machineries, and the new methods to decreasing the production cost. Like that, so many of the innovations has to bring by the organizers. Next, coordinations. An organizer applies a particular combinations of the factor of production to start and run the business or productions. So if a good organizer has to take one of the effort in which the coordinations of the factor of productions. We studied if you want to produce any of the commodities, the factor of production is important. But in which ratio the factor of production has to apply to produce the commodity is taken by or decided by the organizers. Next, control and direction and supervisions. So these three things also has to taken by the organizer itself. An organizer controls so that nothing prevents the organizations from achieving its goal. He directs the factors to get better result and supervises for the efficient functioning of all. If he want to control the business, whole business process, and he has to direct all the factors of productions and all the managers and workers and some of the laborers, and he has to supervise the production process also. Next one of the function of organizer is risk taking. So we have studied one of the most problem in this business organization is taking risk. So without prediction of the profit or losses, sometimes we will produce any of the commodities. Suppose in this production process, if any of the loss is erased, so the organizers only has to take the full responsibility of bearing the risk of losses. And uncertainty bearings. Uncertainty means sometimes we will not able to predict the profit, about the profit. So in this time, so the organizers only has to take all the responsibilities. Okay students, then today our topic is economies of scale. Economies of scale. The scale of production refers to the ratio of factors of productions. The scale of production refers to the ratio of factor of production. So by producing any of the commodities, we have to use the factor of productions. So in which ratio we have to use the factor of production is considered as a scale of productions. This ratio can change because of availability of factors. Suppose if the capital or the labor will be more in our nations. So on the basis of availability of the factor of productions only, the scale of productions also will be going to determined. The scale of production is an important factor affecting the cost of productions. How the cost of production is going to determine the availability of the factor of productions. So now the two type of the factors we have studied, the land and labor. Or suppose we can take the other two factor of production, the labor and the capital. Suppose if we have the more capital, we can adapt the more machineries to produce any of the commodities. And if there is no availability of the machineries, we must adapt the labor only to produce that commodities. Okay, so in this case, if the availability of the factor of production is more, so the cost of productions will be less. So which factor will be affecting the cost of productions means the availability of the factor of productions only. So every producer wishes to reduce the cost of productions, right? So if any of the producers want to produce some of the commodities, he want to produce more with a low cost of productions. When he is thinking like that, he will always uses the labor or the capital oriented process, which is as more profitable. So hence he uses an advantage of economy scale. So this economy of scale is affected both by the internal and external factors of firm. So accordingly, the economies are broadly divided into two types by the Marshalls. First one is internal economies of scale. Next one is external economies of scale. So the economies of scale reduces the cost of production and this economies of scale increases the cost of production. First, we will study about the internal economies of scale. The term internal economies of scale refers to the advantages enjoyed by the production unit, which causes a reduction in the cost of production of the commodity. So first, we have to understand what's the meaning of economies. The economies means the advantages. When we are producing any of the commodities by using the factor of productions, we will get some of the advantages within the premises of the business organizations and outside of the business organizations. So instead of the business premises considered as a internal economies of scale. So outside of the premises of the business organizations is considered as a external economies of scale. So in this internal economies of scale, the five types of economies are there. First one is technical economies of scale. So when we are using the technical for producing any of the commodities or applying some of the technical, by the way we will get some of the advantages. That's called technical economies. When the size of the firm is large amount of capital can be used. there is a possibility to introduce up-to-date technologies. This improves productivity of the firm. So normally on the basis of the populations or on the basis of the new arrival of the commodities in this market or new desire of the consumers, that up-to-date technology is improve the production process and it will be make the production process as easily. So the productivity of the firm, here research and development strategies can be applied easily. So whenever the advanced technical are going to applied to producing any of the commodities or it is used by the producers, he will earn more income. Because one technical or one machineries will be equal to the 10 or 100 labors. So the work is done by the 100 labor is equal to same work is done by the one machineries. So providing more wage to the laborers, if he is purchasing one of the machineries, it will be enough. So the one machineries will be equal to the 100 labors. So by applying the technical in this production process, we will get some of the advantages, that is called technical economies. Next, financial economies. So huge firms can float shares in the market for capital expansion, while small firms cannot easily float shares in the market. So by the way of issuing the shares, every business organizations will earning some of the income. But when we are comparing to the small scale industries and the large scale industries, so the large scale industries only it will be easily issued, and the large scale industries only can have the rights and the power to issuing their shares. When they are issuing their shares, they can expanding their financial. So if they are in established one of the large scale company only is enough, they can able to issuing their shares. By issuing the shares itself, they can earning more financial amount. Next, managerial economies. So large scale production facilitates specialization and delegations. So in these large scale industries only, the specialization of work will be done. The specialization of work means, for example, if you want to complete any of the work have to be separated and it will be assigned to the particular peoples, those who has more knowledge on this particular line. For example, if you are considering the textile industries, some of the persons will have more knowledge and the ability to cut the cloth, and some of the persons will assigning and stitching the cloth and something etc. Okay, so whenever the work is going to assigned on the basis of the ability of the peoples, so the large scale industries will earning more income. So on the basis of the managerials and the skills, if you are adopting some of the specializations and the delegations, the industries will get more income. So because of that, he will get some of the advantages. Next, labor economies. So the large scale production implies greater and minute division of labor. This led the specialization which enhance the quality of the increase the productivity of the firm. So whenever the labor is going to work in these large scale companies, within a short period he will get the specialized skill and he will become as the expert in their work what he was doing. But in the small scale industries, it is not possible to become as the specialized skill and become as the expert, because in the small scale industries the employment opportunity is not compulsory one and not continued one. So in this large scale industries, the labor always will become as the expert. He has more chance to become as the expert, and they will getting the specialization of the work. when they are doing like that, so the industries will get some of the advantages. Next, marketing economies. So in the context of large scale production, the producers can both buy raw materials in bulk at cheaper cost and can take the products to distant markets. They enjoy a huge bargaining power. So normally in the large scale industries only have the chance to purchasing the raw material as a bulky within the low price, because the seller of the raw materials always want to sell in the single persons, and the continue demand have to be arranged by the large scale industries. So when they doing like so all the sellers of the raw materials will selling the large scale industries only. So when he is purchasing the raw material, more large raw materials with the low price, he can produce more commodities, and because of that, the consumer also will get some of the advantages. Because when he is produce any of the commodities with the low price, he can able to produce more commodities, and it will come to the market with the cheap price. So when we are going to marketing any of the commodities, one large scale industries will get some of the advantages. This is also one of the economies, marketing economies. Next, economies of survival. So the product diversification is possible when there is large scale production. This reduces the risk in production. So whenever the demand for commodity is going to change, and on the basis of the innovations, the organizers can easily change the production process and adapt to the new techniques. Even if the market for one product collapses, market for other commodities offsets it. So normally the demand for commodities always will not be different one. So the demand for the commodity will be changed on the basis of time and on the basis of the taste and preference of consumers. Suddenly, if the demand for any of the commodity is down, the large scale industries can able to cope up with the reducing the demand for commodities, and it will be focus on the production of other commodities. So how much amount of the losses was arised in the production of the particular product which has low demanded, it will get the profit in the production of other commodities which has more demanded. So the large scale industries only can have the power to survival in the business world. So when we are surviving in the economic world or the business world, we will get some of the advantages. That is called the economies of survival. So the sixth type of the advantages will be getting from the large scale industries within the premises of the business organization. First one is technical economies, next financial economies, third one managerial economies, fourth one labor economies, fifth one marketing economies, sixth one economies of survival. Technical economies means by using the new machineries and the new day-to-day technical, so the large scale industries can able to more produce. Next, financial economies means the large scale industries only can have the power and the chance to issuing their shares, and by issuing the shares, so the large scale industries can able to expand their financial. So next, managerial economies. Managerial economies means, so in this large scale industries only will have the requirement to the more peoples, the intellectual peoples and other type of the peoples. Next, the labor economies. So on the basis of increasing the labor, he will get the expert in production of particular line. So because of that, he will get some of the profit. Next, marketing economies. So by the way of marketing, or when we are purchasing the raw materials with the cheap rate, he will get some of the advantages. Next, economies of survival. So in this business world, if any of the large scale industries can have the power to survive as continuously, he can chance to earning the profit where they lost to produce the commodities. Okay, student, thank you. So I think it's enough. If you have any doubt in this internal economics of scale, please you can ask. I will tell. And just you take this same portion as your study portion. Thank you.